record locally. That's probably because you're the host. So
yep, I got in first.
That's okay. That's okay. We'll have a crappy recording today. I just want to welcome everybody to week something 32. I think it's funny that there is no time anymore, people. Just letting you know. This is what Y2K should have felt like if we wouldn't have fixed all the COBOL code. Nice.
It's going around and around.
It's always good to have a little levity in your day. One of the reasons I have the fireplace up right now is because I just finished the HIT Foundations course. It is done. It is a 5-day course you can give to anybody who works in your business to walk them through setting up 3 clients. And so I'm hoping to just get a couple people to review that quickly, and I will publish it. But for any new hires you have, or anybody who wants to learn how to do VCIO work, this is a 5-day, 15-minute a day kind of thing, where we do a quick video in the beginning, and then we give you a list of activities so that starting Monday and then going through Friday, you'll be done. You will know how to run a VCIO program.
To set expectations, though, so the total time is a little bit more than 15 minutes a day.
The total time is more than 15 minutes, but you're not sitting there watching videos all day.
There you go.
So the activities is going to take you what it takes you, depending on how prepared you are or how long it takes you to get a hold of a client. But because it's the Humanized IT framework, there's not much customization that needs done. It's all pre-canned and ready to go. So I'm pretty excited about it.
Yeah, re-discussing the whole deal, I will say that, my attraction to the Humanized IT framework is something solid, I guess, that we can go to our clients with. Because, and so many times in the past, we've said, hey, we're going to be, or we want to be your strategic partner. And that sounds good, but many times our clients are left with, well, what does that mean? What does that look like? And with an HIT framework implementation, you can point it out. We're going to do this. We're going to do this. We're going to do this. And we've got these processes that we can really go through there. And so, yeah, if you guys are needing to quantify your strategic services, your VCIO services, strategic analysis, I ought to make a list. I'm kind of gathering, the terms that everyone uses for this. But if you want to engage with your clients in a business-focused, strategic context, the Humanized IT framework is a great place to help you develop that and do that so that you can set yourself apart and you can be specific. We're going to be awesome because we do these things. I've got a teenage son, and he thinks pretty highly of himself, surprisingly enough. Teenagers.
I was completely humble when I was a teenager.
Oh yeah, me too.
I was the most humble kid you ever saw. I mean, I was.
But some of the things he's trying to toot his own horn about, I'm going, really, you're going to hang your hat on that. So we don't want to fall into that mindset as managed service providers. We want to say, hey, look, we're great, we're awesome, and here is the reason why. And the Humanized IT framework is going to be, I think, a very valuable tool in helping you have that conversation with your clients. Okay, that's it.
Yeah, and for those of you, I know we got to get on with our topic for the day, but I get this question a lot, this is something else we have to subscribe to. No. This is the BEP membership.
Yes.
This is the culmination of feedback from a lot of you, and what we have seen be successful. And how do we make this easier? How do we make it quicker to implement so you guys can get on with your day? And since it's all about attitude, and it's all about how you present to your clients and engage with them, it's a fairly simple thing. It's not an entire operational framework that you have to add on to your system. It's just a feel and a focus that you need to just look at, so that you can approach your clients. So when they're in times of stress, like right now, you're somebody they want to talk to. You're not somebody who's going to add more stress onto them. You're this person that's going to take stress off of them. I used to be in a role where we were the, for lack of a better term, the shit hits the fan guys. Our team's job was the buck stops here. And I remember my manager telling me consistently, if you walk into a room, it shouldn't be a, oh crap, Adam's here. It should be a, oh, thank goodness Adam's here.
Yep.
Oh, thank goodness. And that's where we want you guys to be as well. Like, oh my gosh, I am so glad that I have them in the room with me.
Yep.
And so
let me tell a story here, Adam. It kind of segue into
we're
a
going to
little bit
make
more.
America great here as soon as you're done.
Yeah. Segue into where we're at. So Ed, shout out to Ed. Let's see. He's not on here right now, I don't think, but he says he catches our recordings. So I'm going to share a little bit of a story that he told me. Was he operates out of the Washington, D.C. area. And so, kind of that bigger metro area. And he said historically, he's only had about 40% of his clients that would really engage with him in some sort of business continuity planning, disaster recovery process. Now, Ed's been pushing them to do this, but, at the end of the day, about 40% of them is about all he could get to actually commit and follow through on the process. Now, Ed has a compelling narrative on this. He says, look, guys, we're in the DC area, along with whatever else you can think of. We've got, the risk of dirty bombs or biological attacks or rioting, in the streets, and yes, they're on the coast, so they can get hit, by a hurricane. They're far enough north and get hit by a blizzard. He says, we've got this long list of things that could impact your day-to-day business. We need to move through this process. And like I mentioned before, not much buy-in on that. However, in today's environment right now, 100% all across the board, everybody's eyes and ears, Ed, what do we need to do? And so, he's definitely in the process of what, Adam, I've been talking about, setting these lessons learned engagements and really building up to these engagements in these meetings with our clients where we say, okay, we were in the thick of it, we've come out, we've helped you guys come out, let's make some great plans. And I just think that's an awesome place to be. I guess that's my point of my story here is we're moving. We have a great opportunity as IT professionals, as MSPs and in particular, to really take that seat at the table, so to speak, where we sit down and we look kind of eye to eye with the other leading elements within an organization and say, hey, we're here to help. We're here to contribute to the overall success of this organization. We've got some ideas. Why don't you guys give me some information? And together we'll collaborate and we'll create a better organization than what was before. And this is a cool place to be. We're all there with probably one or two of our customers, but just imagine where we can be if we're there with the majority of our customers. And, one, just how satisfying that is as a job that you show up to where you really make a difference. But two, on a business side of it, that's the much more profitable place to be as well. So there's a lot at stake here for us as IT professionals going forward here. These next several months are going to be very defining, and those that are very focused on what we need to do, and making a plan, working the plan, reviewing the plan, that kind of process, we're going to be successful. We really are. So there's a little rah-rah there for you.
The times have changed, or we just need to change. We get that narrative going. And so for those of you who do not have this page bookmarked, do it now. This should be the core of your presentations to your clients right now. Because this is driving every aspect of business right now.
Yep.
The advantage to this is that we have checkpoints that we can help our customers with. So what does phase one look like for your customer? What does it mean for your client? And so as you get to phase one, so Nebraska will hit phase one pretty fast. I imagine this being a lower population density state, we're going to be able to see those numbers, that gating criteria happen faster. And so look through this. It's very simple. They could not have made this any simpler. Like it is easy. And so what you need to do now is take these gating criteria here and apply them to your client list, like your class A's, your class B's, and think, okay, which of them are affected by phase one? Now, in a disaster recovery scenario, for those of you who've done disaster recovery in the past, we had to look at it and go, all right, what's your plan? How many people can come on site? So if we have to do social distancing at your organization, is there a way we can reconfigure the computer pods and the location of offices to maximize the number of people who we can get back to work? That's on you, technology people. Where is the heat map for your client? Do you have one? Do it now. The building's empty. You might as well walk through there. Get things like that in place. Like, okay, we know that we can do this. And so for your clients who need a plan, who want to see them to see you in a different light, go through this and go, okay, phase one, what does this mean for my client? Hey, did you know that phase one, if we could do this in your organization, if we could just put a couple of extra Wi-Fi routers in, we could extend the number of people that can come into your office during phase one? What about phase two? What does that mean? So we want to have a step-by-step disaster recovery plan that aligns with this. So if you had a blizzard, you would have a different plan. When roads are back open, do this. Here's when we do calling trees. We have been given the definitions by the United States government in the states of how we are going to reintegrate businesses into the culture. Now, yes, the gating criteria has to be met, and I cannot advise you as to how your state is going to behave. I have a hard enough time understanding my own bureaucrats' minds. I can't understand all of yours.
Well, you can understand them?
It's in your best interest as a business owner and a business person to try to guess as accurately as possible, whether you agree with your governor, your representatives or not, but to understand realistically how they're going to handle the gating criteria.
Yep. Yeah,
I may not be a Republican or Democrat or a Green Party or a Tea Party or whatever, but whoever's making those decisions at my state, I need to understand their thought processes and what's going to help drive them to make a decision for the gating criteria and when they're going to open things back up. And then how it's going to affect my clients. Because your clients are trying to figure this out too. They're trying to figure out, can I bring people back to work during phase one? When is phase one going to happen?
Yeah, as a suggestion here, Adam, just like you're doing right here, bring this page up, get your clients on a video call and walk them through this. And I think this is, again, this is the great collaboration approach. Your clients, your business owners are looking at this, all right? They're not oblivious. This is not going to be new information for them, all right? But when you bring it up and you walk through these steps and go, hey, let's walk through this together. What challenges are you going to see here in phase one as we begin to do this? And as they begin to tell you, hey, we're going to have a really hard time doing that because of whatever their particular circumstances are. Well, now you're informed, and now you can be in that collaborative mode. And now you can be the technology expert and go, oh, hey, I see a problem here that a technology solution will fit. All right. It may not fit all of them. I mean, that's just the nature of it. So don't expect to fix all their problems, but if we collaborate together on this, we're going to be able to make some progress. That's, kind of the cool thing about technology where we're at. We have a big impact, and we have a big toolbox that can, if not completely eliminate, it can mitigate a lot of problems out there. So just walk through your clients, walk through this with your clients.
Yeah.
Be a part of the process.
And some of your clients, they're kind of just, especially the smaller ones, they're just trying to figure this stuff out. Some of them don't even know. Like, I have been surprised at how many people are like, okay, what are we going to do about the gating criteria? And they're like, what? Like, the gating criteria that was launched last week. I get a blank stare. And I'm like, and these are business owners. And they're like, well, we're just playing it by ear. Like, no. That's not what we do. We need to find out what it means to be that next gen support. We need to figure out what it means for phase one. Because do you want to be part of the mad dash, or you want to be part of the people that are ready to go and prepared for phase one, so that as soon as that edict comes out from your state and local government, that you can say, here's our plan. Here's who's going to come on site. Here's who is allowed to do things. Here's how we're going to do it, so that all their employees understand the plan. Because you want to create that plan now. You want to send it out to everybody and have everybody think about it, question it, and do those questions now, so that at midnight, when that new edict gets relaunched and it says, hey, we are now in phase one, we have declared phase one responsibility, your business can then say, okay, enact the plan. These 20 people can come on site.
Adam,
or maybe as a business owner, you're super conscious about social distancing, and you're saying, even if phase one happens, we're not going to allow our employees to come on site until we know for certain that a resurgence isn't going to happen. So you may say, we will open up 2 weeks post the gating criteria are being met and phase one being announced in our state. You may say that, but your employees need to know this, so that day one, they aren't coming back up to your door and trying to get in and the doors are locked.
You talk about the mad dash, Adam, and I'll bring Ed back up. So Ed's got a customer in the construction business, and she has an office a computer at the office, obviously, and a computer at the house. And for the longest time, Ed has been pushing this business owner to get a laptop, a business grade laptop. And she keeps giving the pushback, going, no, I'm fine. I don't need one. Well, now she's been forced home and working from home, days on end. She calls up Ed and goes, okay, Ed, you mentioned that laptop. Yeah, I need one of those. And of course his response was, well, I'm glad you've, finally taken my advice, but there's not any available. I mean, he said, I'll go look in, I'll find you something. So the worst thing we can do is find you a piece of junk and cause more problems than we solve. But he says, I'll work on it. And so you're absolutely right, Adam. There is going to be a mad dash for some of this stuff. And, do you guys want to be following what everyone else is doing, or do you want to be leading the path? And so it is going to take some proactive work for us, but we can get there easily enough. I mean, as easy as we can, perhaps, if we do this with our clients. Yeah. If we go along and we set the expectations early.
And the problem is like, a lot of people go, oh, that's business stuff. I don't do business consulting for my clients. Like, that's great. Keep fixing those servers.
That's right.
Changing that narrative. And that's why you're in this community. You want to change the narrative. You want to be a business advisor. Yeah. I look at myself not as a VCIO, but as a business advisor with 20 years of technical experience.
There you go.
Do I know every kind of corporate culture there is and how to particularly balance out a spreadsheet? No, I can bundle my way through about like a fifth grader. But you ask me questions about technology strategy, disaster recovery. You ask me about business continuity planning. I'm your guy, and I'm going to help you, and I'm going to help add that context, but I stay in my lane so that the other experts in the businesses can get their minds together. But we've been excluded from the strategic sessions because we see things like this as somebody else's problem. When we need to start thinking of, how is this a technology problem? And what do I have to contribute to my clients and to my key stakeholders to help them succeed? I look at this and immediately in my head, I'm like, okay, for one, they're going to open up campgrounds again. Yay. I am so desperate to go camping. For the past 40 years of my life, I've gone camping every spring. I'm like twitching here, and it sounds weird. I know it's like baseball fans. I'm certain, they're feeling weird, and people who didn't get their spring basketball, all this other weird things that people do. I don't know. What do normal people do, Skip?
You're asking the wrong person.
But the point is that I look at phase one immediately and I go, okay, as Nebraska, we're probably not far from phase one. Why? Because we're a low population. I mean, outside of Omaha, we don't worry about it. Hey, you know what? I did do social distance fishing 2 days ago. So screw you, Mike.
Always good. That's always good.
I did look longingly at the campfire sites, and I did take a picture of the warning, no overnight camping. and I may have made a rude gesture as I drove away.
As long as you set a good example for your kids, that's all that matters.
You're watching nice and close. So the idea is that phase one, can you look at your existing client list? Can you take I can't reach over there. Can you take phase one, I can do this, and make it applicable to your clients? Can you take this and say, here is what I'm going to do for my clients to take them and make this easy and successful for them? They need to come back on site. Maybe they bought a bunch of computers from you that aren't on the domain yet. Okay, we got to make sure that somebody's going to be on site with admin credentials, or somebody's going to be available via phone to handle this influx of computers that came from home. What about all the personal documents that people are storing on their home devices? How are they going to get those in? Are they going to email them? Are they going to use thumb drives? What are they going to do that's going to make your life difficult? Can you create a process that's going to help them with phase one? What about phase two? What about phase three? Look through these. They're very quick. They're very easy to understand. And ask yourself how this pertains to your clients and what value you can provide your clients to make these transitions easier over the next 12 months. Some of you guys have a 12-month journey in front of you, and it's going to be rough.
Yep.
And you're going to want to move out to Nebraska or Kansas or Missouri because you're going to be tired. But if you look at phase one, phase two, phase three, I'm going to move through these probably in Nebraska in the next 4 or 5 months, unless something weird happens. In the higher density states, you're probably got a longer journey in front of you. I don't know what it looks like, but you should try to figure it out. Listen to your local representatives, listen to your local authorities, and see what it looks like, and whether it's going to be a long process or a quick process for you. California will probably be like the last people to reintegrate outside of Texas.
Yeah.
I don't know what Texas is going to do.
What time is it
today? You guys run the gamut. It'll probably just open war down there.
Yeah.
Austin versus everybody. Is that what it's going to be?
Yeah, that's it.
So look through these. Maybe that's something Skip and I should probably work through is, what does this mean? Maybe we should come up with a report checklist, like phase one, phase two, phase three. As of phase three, you should do this.
And let me color that in a little bit more, Adam. So, to give you guys a little feedback. So, part of my self-imposed, duties, I feel like, is, checking in with everybody and I check in with a lot of VEP members from around the world, actually, every week. And I'm building a little bit of consensus here. And just so you guys, like I said, to give you the feedback, rural organizations in general seem to be doing a little bit better. Okay. If you're in high density population areas, a lot of feeling the impact much more severely. Okay. So that's not rocket science there. I mean, I'm not probably telling anybody anything new. I'm just kind of maybe reaffirming some of the feelings that you may be getting. But saying that, understanding the differences of where you are and where your clients' businesses are is going to be an important element in walking through this. So, I was talking with someone last week. They're actually in California, but in a pretty, less severely impacted area. However, their home offices, are in downtown New York, right? So severely impacted at the corporate office there. So, and a lot of clients over there as well. So, how does that work out? And understanding that demographic is going to help you go through this process. But, as I said before, more than anything, walking through this process with your clients and not just trying to respond to whatever they come up with is probably one of the most valuable things you could do right now in your business.
Yeah, and right now I'm going to kind of walk through that just quickly. I know we're half an hour in, but I want to walk through quickly phase one, phase two, phase three, and my assessment and, Skip's assessment on what this means. If anybody has any feedback, continue to post in chat here. but what it means from a technology partner's perspective for each of these. So the gating criteria, as you can see, is a downward trajectory.
Mm-hmm.
And when we get to phase 1, individual plans, this isn't going to affect us as much. So you can largely ignore this section. This is just your homeowners, your average Joe out there. However, what we want to focus on is these 2 sections right here. So with phase 1, telework, they still want this to be focused. I think long term, this is going to be the focus of business in general.
Yep.
People are going to be addicted to it. They've had time, and it's no longer a perk. It is going to be a requirement in many cases, as people say, I don't want a brick and mortar anymore. I'm letting my lease expire. This phased work here is the important part. So when we do disaster recovery plans, we talk about the essential personnel to your business, non-essential personnel to the business. So, you know, the royalty and the common folk, if you want to get to the feudal system. But the people who like need to coordinate activities and have to meet together to discuss like the key stakeholder issues. These are the people who are going to want to be like, okay, where can they sit? Maybe they share an office right now and they won't be able to yet because common areas have to be restricted as of phase 1. So people still have to social distance. And then what if you have an older person in the group or somebody who has severe asthma? Okay, what does that mean for that essential personnel to your business? How are we going to accommodate them as we reintegrate? So we know that Susan is not going to come back on site, so we are giving her X, Y, and Z so that she can have a strong telepresence in meetings. Often, you know, your CEOs, your senior management, they're the older generation, typically. And so will they fit into the vulnerable section? Maybe. But you need to make sure you're accommodating those teleworkers. What does it mean? Specific types of employers, you're really going to want to hit this one hard. Mm-hmm. Because you're going to want to come up with if you are a school, here is a great plan. So private schools don't have as much support as the public schools do. So take care of your private schools, your charter schools that are in your area, and help them come up with plans. These are people you should be reaching out to right now. If you want a new client, reach out to them right now. They're desperate. Yep. They want help. They just don't know how to go about it because they don't have a technology provider and they don't have a school district. Maybe the school district isn't strong in their area. I don't know how many of you do these or large venues such as here we have Pinnacle Arena. How are you going to help them? And a lot of them are looking into live streaming events. They're looking to special accommodations. What else can we do to help these people who fit into these areas? Yep. Coming down here, phase 2. What does this mean for employers? Again, I think this is going to be the new norm, people. Yep. And so there's a common theme here. Special accommodations, common areas are going to do forced social distancing protocols. You can find different ways to help with that. What does it mean in common areas? Discourage people from doing that. Maybe finding other ways for people to congregate or have large meetings inside their business. So I know Zoom has special accommodations for internal meetings if they do a Zoom server internally. I don't know if Microsoft has something similar for Teams, but if you do the Zoom Enterprise Edition, I think you can get either it's an appliance or a special connector tool that you install on a server, and then you can do high def, really quick meetings internally. It changes the format. So common areas aren't as necessary for large meetings or for common things. Here is where you're going to start seeing things like YMCAs. You're going to see schools start doing like hybrid things. This is the one I'm waiting for because I am the president of a camp, a large camp here in Nebraska, and I serve on their board of directors. I want to know, like, how are we going to reintegrate the kids? Should we reintegrate the kids? So the big concern with these particular organizations is, even if we are given the green light, should we open? That is the big concern. These people are super sensitive to their clients, super sensitive to the kids, and they won't do anything to jeopardize it. And so, whereas with a business, it's going to be more of like plausible deniability. Hey, the government said we could open, we're going to run business. Whereas a school and youth, they're going to be the ones like, well, is it the right thing to do? Should we open right now? They're going to be very sensitive.
Yep.
So help accommodate them, help them come up with plans. So, hey, you know, I know we can still meet, but maybe we meet in small groups. Maybe we meet in groups of 10 or less, and then we live stream that event. Maybe we have it where people can be in different rooms, or at a camp, cabins can be interconnected. So on the wall, maybe there's a video to another cabin, or, you know, live feeds to each other so they can have fun. Find solutions that help them solve problems.
Yep.
Gyms, these are going to be interesting over the next few weeks as to who's still open. Because a lot of people cancel their gym memberships, and you can't pay rent if you don't have your gym membership.
Yep.
And then finally, phase 3, unrestricted. So what does the new norm look like for your clients? That's a big question right now. Have you reached out and say, what is the new norm? If we were in phase 3 right now, what does business look like for everyone? Now, given that a lot of you, phase 3 isn't going to happen for 6 months or so, what does that mean if everybody's so used to working at home and they've established all these new norms? It takes 90 days to establish a habit, by the way. Once they've established that habit, what does that new norm look like? Are you going to disrupt business again by having everybody come in, and now they've got to redo everything? They're going to spend a couple of weeks like getting all their files back in order, getting their routine back in order? Or are you going to say it's optional to come into work now? Come in when you can.
Adam, let me jump in here. So some of you may heard me talk about it. So Gartner released a study April the 6th. It was 750, I believe, CFOs across the country, and they asked them the question of, you know, how they felt COVID-19 was going to impact their workforce with regards to telework or remote work. And, you know, there's some good bit of details in there, but it boils down to, just real quickly, to what I'm calling my 2020 group. All right. And that is 20% of respondents feel about 20% of their employees are going to stay remote. And these are employees that weren't remote before. So if you think about it in this term, 1 in 5 of your customers is going to make the decision to leave 1 in 5 of their employees at home. That's gonna create a pretty impactful narrative. I would love to talk with you guys some more about that. If anybody wants to kind of just collaborate on some ideas or what that's going to look like, hit me up, coaching@virtualc.biz. We'll definitely find a time just to talk about that. I can share the data and a little bit of the research that I've done with that, but I would love to hear what some of your perspectives are and the tools, because I think that's the key takeaway from that. If we really have 1 in 5 of our customers leaving 1 in 5 of their employees at home, what is the infrastructure that we're supporting for these organizations going to look like in the future going forward? And I think that that is going to be a driving element in our business and our deliverables, what we're doing for our clients. So, you know, like I said, I would love to visit with you more about that, coaching@virtualc.biz, and we'll find a time to talk about that and see if we can prepare you guys, because certainly what we want to do is get ahead of our curve. You know, there's a lot of talk about the curve right now. Okay. Well, part of that is the curve of, you know, clients coming back to work, and like what Adam mentioned there was Zoom. Okay. You know, we just need to do some research there. We need to figure that out. You know, is that still a product that's available? You know, what's the price point on that? Does it make sense? What supporting elements are, you know, if we're really, are they going to send 4K, you know, video across the network? Do we have multicast enabled? You know, can we do all these different things? There's a lot of questions that comes up when we start, you know, rolling that remote work ball downhill. We want to be prepared. We don't want to be underneath that wheel as it starts rolling, so to speak, and trying to scramble and put things together because the client made a decision. Let's make those decisions with the client so we know where that wheel is going to roll.
Yeah, and that's just kind of what I wanted to get here. Is like, I am by no means the definitive guy here when it comes to this stuff, but you should be thinking about it. How does it affect? What can you do? what does it mean to roll this back together? Like, now that people are so used to streaming, do they have the bandwidth even to manage this? If people came on site today and they're streaming, so that's an interesting question that if you haven't thought about it in your brains lately, when they're at all their houses, you're distributing bandwidth right now, and they're having Zoom meetings with each other, and they're crossing paths. The total bandwidth they have right now is greater than the bandwidth you have in your business. So if they've been doing these Zoom meetings with their clients and they've gotten used to this high level, high quality video streaming, when you have 50 people or 20 people come on site, or even 10 people come on site and all start hosting Zoom meetings at the same time, is their firewall going to catch on fire? What do they have the bandwidth for it? That they used to have 50 megs and that was sufficient, but now it's going to crush them. So can you look down your client list and say, this person, no, this person, no, this person, no, they're going to get crushed. So we need to put the order in today to upgrade their internet bandwidth. So when they come back on site during phase 2 and phase 3, that they have the capacity to maintain the level of work they're doing right now. Because even though your business is able to come back on site, let's get Nebraska here. Let's say I hit phase 3 by August, and I am on site with my 20, 25 employees, and all of a sudden I'm trying to talk to New York, I'm trying to talk to California. All my employees are now doing Zoom meetings because they can't fly out and have their meetings. So I've got 25 Zoom meetings going at 10 megs a connection. Am I able to do that? Can I sustain that? All of a sudden you're losing clients because we can't connect. We got to drive back home so we can have our meetings.
Yep.
And so look at that sustainability. What does this mean? There are very real technical problems with people migrating from home back on site. What about gating criteria for PCs that have been sitting on a foreign network for the past 3 months? Who knows what porn has been surfed on that sucker? Who knows what they've been through? I mean, like Michael Marlowe, I wouldn't work on his computer. That's right, I called you out, man. But the point is, like, these computers, do they need to be virus checked? Do they need to have a clean sweep before they're allowed to come back onto the domain? What has been going on with them? Did they disable their antivirus? Did they do something crazy? Did they get compromised by something? Do they have a rootkit there? What is it that needs to be checked so we know that they can come back on site in an appropriately safe fashion? You have to think of these things, and your client may not care. Most of your clients may not care about gating criteria for computers coming back onto a network. Has that computer checked in? Do we still have token time limits on Active Directory accounts? I don't know. We're about to find out in about 20 days here. It used to be a 90-day time limit for tokens. And so what's going to happen as these computers come back on site, as people try to get their files back on site from their home computers? What is your checklist? What's your client's policy on reintegration in phase 3, phase 2, phase 1? We don't want to disrupt things. We want to have a plan. We want to have a checklist. We want to have a process. And it's different for every single one of your clients. That's the frustrating part. If we could come up with a universal checklist for all of our clients, I would publish one for you right now, but I can't, because each one of them are happy little snowflakes. And we want to help them. So check in with your high value clients, or I should say high value, your Class A, Class B clients that are paying you lots of money right now, and make sure that they're aware of these things that I'm talking about. That how phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, what it means. Like phase 3 means we got to check your PCs as they come back on site. What is it that means? We have to check your bandwidth. We have to make sure that you're ready to reintegrate in 60 days. These are things that we just got to figure out right now. And you have to ask the questions. You have to sign up lessons learned meetings in 90 days. You sign up for strategic meetings with your clients. Like, hey, let's get to the meeting of the minds and let's talk about what phase 1 means as a group. Get the CFO on the line, get the CEO on the line, and you represent as the CIO, and then you have your operations managers. Get them online, get a brain trust going, meet with them, and let's figure out how we get this done. And you will have a customer for life, because you've been in the trenches with them, you have suffered with them, and they will remember how you helped them through this. How integral you were. And there's no way anybody's ever going to come in and take you away. So you will have loyalty forever. You
That's
have
true.
clients like this already. You're going to have more, but you have to step up. You have to start this process.
Yep.
Final thoughts, Skip?
Now that's it. I talk about that 90-day lessons learned. We don't want it to be an emotional meeting. We want it to be factual. But you've brought up something. If we roll this out a year or 2 years down the road, and the world has reestablished its new norm. Some of the facts are going to fade into memory. But if you really step up, your partners, your clients are really going to remember you that way. They're going to remember you in that emotive state, and that's what we want. They're going to feel like you took care of them. You were dependable. You were their rock in some of this, turmoil, and that's just an awesome place to be.
Yeah, and the next time
we're building clients for life.
Next time there's a crisis, guess who gets a seat on the table? You do, because they want your mind there. As business owners, we like smart people being next to us, helping us make good decisions. And so they're going to want you there. And as they have more and more critical decisions to make, they're going to start inviting you to different meetings. I've been in IT, or I've been in IT departments where, certain managers got invited to the financial planning sessions just because they had good minds on their shoulders. And I've been in other companies where it's just the CEO makes all the decisions and everybody just kind of lock steps. They don't trust anybody. You want to be in that collaborative environment. You want to be where people go, let's bring them to the table. Let's bring Michael to the table. Let's bring Adam to the table. Let's bring Skip to the table. We want to make sure we have the brightest people here, and you're going to be one of them. Even though you're a vendor, they're still going to invite you to the table saying, okay, how do we get this done?
Yep.
And you start that by changing the narrative today with these 90-day lessons learned, or starting, hey, we need to do a strategic session on what these phase plans mean and how it's going to help us in Tennessee, how it's going to help us in Connecticut, how it's going to help us in California, how it's going to help us in Montana. What does this mean specifically? And you will become a forerunner. What you'll also expect, and don't be surprised when this happens, is you'll be asked to speak. You will be asked to address different business groups. I know I already have. And they're like, hey, can you come in and talk more about that? What did you mean by that? How can we leverage that more? And you will suddenly become an authority in your town, in your state, in your region, where people asking like, oh yeah, Mike's the guy to go to there. They start talking amongst each other, because once they know that somebody has a plan and somebody's addressing this directly, everybody else is just waiting. You're going to be leading. You're going to be that forefront person, where people go, yes, I like that. Let's get more of that.
There you go.
That's all I have. I know this is, we only got about 13 minutes left here, but I'm very excited about the future here. There's a lot of work to do. There's a lot of extra projects that need to be taken care of. Policy generation alone on the gating criteria and how to come back to work. Get yourself a tech writer and start typing. You can sell those like hotcakes if you need to. But anyways, if you have any questions, reach out to coaching@virtualc.biz. And we will post this video here probably in the next couple of days as per the usual, and we'll see you online.
All right. See you, everyone.